What's up everyone, this is DR with the World Breakdown 101, and today we're going to be going over the user interface in World of Warcraft. Now, as with your desktop user interface, you create shortcuts to programs you use often so that you have easy access to them. The user interface in any program is how the computer program communicates with the user. It is no different in World of Warcraft. Now, let's talk about what your plain Jane World of Warcraft user interface is trying to tell you. First, it shows you where your character is, and the camera is locked on your character in the middle of the screen. You have your character frame, which displays your health, mana, and other resources your class may use to function. You have your skill bars that display what skills you can attack with, heal with, stay alive with, and other forms of skills as in pets, mounts, etc. You have your backspace that tells you what you have in your inventory. You get the point. While we are playing the game and raiding, what information do we absolutely need? Well, the first thing we need to know is what our health is at, and are we in danger of dying? We can tell this from our character frame. The information can lead us to possibly healing ourselves, popping a defensive cooldown to stay alive, and if we're standing in something, can cause us to look at our feet and move. Now, because our character is fixated in the center of the screen, you want to set your user interface up so that you have to move your eyes away from the center of the screen as little as possible. Now, the other piece of information that you want to know is the life of the mob, or the boss that you're attacking, and what skills they are channeling. This will help you interrupt skills to make it easier for you to kill, or even possibly stay alive. Having this information near the middle of the screen will help you accomplish this goal. Okay, now we're going to go over add-ons that are going to help your user interface out. There are a lot of add-ons out there, and I personally myself actually use the Blizzard user interface, so I leave that UI as my default. Regardless of what user interface you have, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to see how the add-ons can help improve your gameplay. I'm sure many of you heard of the ultimate add-ons out there that will help you be the best player in World of Warcraft, and that all the players use this said add-on. I'm going to tell you what you're going to be looking for when putting together your user interface and your add-on interface. Having this mindset will carry over to all classes that you pick up and play around with. The first thing that you need to think about when deciding what add-ons you need for your class is what is important to your spec and your role. If you're a tank, your defensive cooldowns will be more important than your offensive cooldowns. If you're a DPS, what skills need to be pressed the second they're off cooldown to increase your damage? If you're a healer, what cooldowns do you need to know are available to keep the raid alive? Ask yourself this as you're putting the piece of the puzzle together for your user interface. Is there a dot that I need to keep up on the boss at all times? Is there a debuff that I need to keep up on the boss at all times? Is there a buff that I need to keep on myself at all times? Are there skills in this fight that I need to reduce damage for? Do I need to dispel something in the encounter? Is there a heal that I need to keep on cooldown? Asking yourselves these kinds of questions will start to get you on the correct path and the correct line of thinking on setting up your user interface. As you move up in raid difficulty, you will start to find ways of tweaking your user interface and add-ons on a fight-by-fight basis in some points that are necessary. There are a lot of good add-ons out there that will help you with the information that you need to perform your role or task in the raid. Remember, when you're setting up your add-ons, to put the information that they are telling you in a relevant place that is easy for you to access. For example, as a Death Knight DPS, I want to know when my trinks are proccing, when my weapon and tailoring enchants is proccing, so that I know the best time to pop my DPS cooldowns to stack as many damaging cooldowns together as possible to get the most out of them. I use class timers to tell me when these are proccing and place them above my character frame on my UI to make it easy for me, and what it says to me is, hey, these are my procs because they are over my character. Now, I also need to keep 2 dots up on the target that I'm attacking at as much as possible. And the best way for me to track this is with class timers as well. Where's the best place to put that information? Yep, you guessed it. It's right above the enemy target frame on my user interface so that I can easily tell what dots are rolling on that target. Also, there are DPS cooldowns and executes that I want to track as well, and I track those with a Tell Me When add-on. I place those under my character so they are in my peripheral vision, and I can keep my eyes on other information, and due to the size, I do not have to physically look at those cooldowns to tell if they are up. Now, you don't have to set your UI exactly like mine is, and changing your UI around can seem like you're actually doing worse with a new setup, and that will have a lot to do with muscle memory. If you're used to looking in the top left corner for your character information, like Blizzard has the default UI set up, it could take some time to train yourself to look for that information in a new spot. Just stick with it and hang in there, and you will be glad that you did. Now let's talk real fast about the information that you do not need. Now I know a lot of you out there have a DPS or HPS meter add-on that tells you how much damage or healing you're putting out. This add-on is fine, but just put it somewhere on your UI that you don't look at to keep it out of sight and out of mind. That information that you may be looking at during the fight to say, "Law, look at the burst DPS that I'm a-doing, baby," is actually taking your eyes away from what may actually be important in the fight. Now this next thing that I'm telling you, a lot, and I do mean a lot of people in the top guilds do this when they are progressing in heroic encounters and even in normal encounters. You do not need to see how much your heals and damage is doing. So please, I implore you to turn off your battle text in your user interface. Having that battle text up with all the numbers flying around will flood your user interface with information that you do not need to know and can actually distract you from something very important in the encounter that you need to be watching out for, like void zones, frontal cone attacks that knock you off of places, your boss mod timers. You do not need to see that 5 million crit chaos bolt, because once it's all said and done, you can always go back to your damage meter and see your largest crit chaos bolt if that actually matters to you. Now the last thing that I want to talk to you about is your boss mod timers. If you are not a raid lead, then I implore you to go into your encounters on your boss mod timers and turn off information that does not apply to your role. If you're a DPS, then you do not need to know the timer of when the next cast for a tank swap ability is going to come in. The reason I say to do this is because what will happen, and I guarantee it has happened to you because I know it's happened to me as well, is if you're a DPS or a heal or a tank and your UI is being flooded with so much information about the boss, you will just start ignoring the timers because 60% of those timers don't even apply to you, which can cause you to miss what is actually important to your role. So remember, there's no one set way to set up your user interface. Just try to make sure that all the information you need to play the game is easily ready and close by so that you don't have to take your eyes off of your character more than a second or two. Because a split second is all that it takes sometimes to start a bad chain of events in your raid. That is all I have for this guide. If it helped you out any at all, then give me a like, share, and subscribe to keep up with future guides and contents. Have a suggestion for a future video? Then leave it in the comment section below or email me at thewowbreakdown@gmail.com. And see you again next time, guys.